guys, it's Matt. Hope you guys are having a good day today and an even better day tomorrow. As you can see by the title, I am starting an investment challenge using Questrade. This is my first series for financial content, so please let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. So first I'm going to start off with the purpose of this whole challenge. The purpose of this challenge is essentially just for my own entertainment and benefit, and to have documented my journey from 5K to 500K investing as a Canadian in only American investments. I do have Canadian investments, but those are in a separate account in Wealthsimple. Another reason I wanted to do this challenge is to show some interesting things that I learn as I learn them, and some things that may be interesting for you guys. Especially with regard to the value of investing using Questrade, specifically as a Canadian looking at American investments while minimizing the fees and costs of doing so. So the rules of this challenge that I've given myself are quite simple. I just want to explain them again to give you guys a better idea of what I'm doing. So number one is I'm only investing in American investments, so investments that are on American exchanges. Because I'm using Questrade portfolio, any other investments I have aren't going to be a part of this challenge because they're in different brokerages. Number two, I'm starting with 5K, so 5,000 Canadian, and eventually the goal is to reach that, or to get that to reach 500,000 in the account, and that would be US dollars. So the 500,000 can be achieved through both contributions to the account and appreciation of the assets. So it's not a challenge that's turning 500 or 5,000 Canadian and building it that 5,000 only to 500,000 US. It's about both building it up there, but also contributing and having regular contributions when I can. So those are really the only like hard and fast rules that I have for this challenge. The other rules I've kind of made for myself are really just for building the portfolio and the positions. So I'll just go through those really quick so you guys get an idea. So when creating my starting positions, I didn't want any positions to have more than 15% of my total portfolio or any less than 5% of the total portfolio. And again, that's just my starting positions. That can change later on, but I have some rules for that as well. So the main reason for this is just because of some calculations that I made to ensure that I was minimizing the fees that I am accruing on Questrade, since I am starting with a fairly low number, and considering there are flat fees made with every trade that I make, since it's such a low number, those flat fees can take up actually a larger percentage of the total profits that I'm going to be making. Number two is do not exceed 20 positions at any time or less than 10 positions at any time. Again, this is not a hard and fast rule, but this is kind of just a ballpark that I'm looking to stay between. I think that 10 positions is fairly good for making sure that I maintain some diversification, and I want to make sure I'm less than 20 because I feel like when I exceed 20, there's going to be some inconsistencies or at least inefficiencies in what I am investing in, and it's in a way over diversification in my mind and could be minimizing growth. Number three, do not exceed 35% in any investment sector. Again, general rule for diversification and stability. I don't expect to exceed this, or I do expect to exceed this, sorry, from time to time with the daily fluctuations in the market that may cause a sector to appreciate past that mark because of also depreciation in other sectors. So for example, in technology is a good example. Number 4 and 5 are just more regarding the investment process for me, just so you guys get an idea of what I'm looking at. Number 4 is don't chase plays. So do my own due diligence for every position, and once a decision is made on the company, do my own technical analysis to find entry positions. And number 5 is no IPO plays. I hate dealing with IPOs. I have had my fair share of them in my short experience of investing so far, but I really don't like dealing with IPOs. They're just too hectic, and you know, if it's a company that I really do believe in, I've decided that I'm going to wait at least a month to see what comes of it. So in terms of the share price and any other news that may come up after the IPO, even if it does only go straight up, if it is a company I believe in, I'm willing to pay the money if it still makes sense, because I can justify the price that it is if I really believe in that company, and I'm willing to pay for that. So those are the rules. So now I'll just go into my portfolio. It's time to look at the positions I entered in week 1. This isn't over the course of an entire week. It's only really about half a week, but I'm just counting as the first week. And I also won't be going over any due diligence or major information about the companies in this video. This is really just meant to be an introduction to the challenge and summarize my first week and my thoughts going into week 2. With that said, I will provide some small details just to provide a bit of context so you guys can see what type of company it is if you're unaware and what sector they would fall into. So in no particular order, the first position is Coinbase, ticker symbol COIN, C-O-I-N. So Coinbase is a platform that allows individuals to easily buy, sell, and hold cryptocurrencies. It has recently IPO'd and is a fantastic platform in my opinion. I do use it. It's not the only crypto platform that I use, but I have been using it and I do really enjoy. I kind of find it as like the equivalent to a Wealthsimple in terms of the vibe that I get from it and in using it. And again, Wealthsimple I think is great, so I do recommend that as well. I am a big believer in both the future of cryptocurrencies and Coinbase itself. So with that in mind, it was kind of an easy decision to make. So in terms of my entry to the position, I originally purchased only 2 shares because it is a bit expensive. And like I said earlier, if I believe in the company, I can justify the price. But because of the small number that I'm starting with in terms of 5,000, it does take a large percentage for each share. And since I wanted to keep it under 15, that limited me to only being able to get 2. So again, in the worst case scenario, if the price does drop, considering I found it slightly expensive, it does give me a buying opportunity, which, spoiler, ended up happening literally the next day when I conveniently had deposited more money into the account. But originally, however, I purchased the 2 shares for $303.95 each, accounting for roughly 15% of my original positions. And number 2 is Palantir. Palantir is a software company that integrates pools of data, their outcomes, and relevant operations in one platform. Without going into further detail about this company, it also has recently IPO'd and has been building up a lot of hype. And with further research, I'm really excited to watch this company prosper, and I think it can do a lot of different things with this type of technology for a bunch of different companies that could also be doing a lot of different things. So it seems like it's really got its branches stuck in there and it's really ready to grow. So I purchased 10 shares at $19.13 per share, accounting for about 5% of my starting positions. Number 3, of course, I won't leave you on the edge of your seat. Of course, I have a position in Tesla. There are so many reasons for me to believe in this company. I honestly don't know where to start. But again, for those that don't know, Tesla is a company that builds and sells all electric vehicles, as well as some other products in the sphere of sustainable energy. So think like solar panels and energy storage. I purchased only 1 share at $608 even, which accounts for about 15% of my starting position. Number 4 is MP Materials, ticker symbol MP. So MP has a special place in my heart for a couple of reasons. One of them is because ever since I've researched the idea of personal finance and investing, I've always been told to have some sort of position in the basic materials sector, and usually people consider that to be like gold and silver. But I'm not really the biggest fan of the materials sector, and I decided to find a company in this sector that provides materials for products that I believe in themselves rather than just the product itself, if that makes sense. So MP Materials is a rare earth mining and processing company that seeks to provide sustainable, low-cost supply chains for materials used in modern technologies that also seek to create a carbon-reduced future. So when I think of MP Materials, I think of supply chain for the EV industry, as well as industries like consumer electronics, like smartphones and computers, tablets, etc., and even in wind energy generating products. So the magnets that are actually used to create these products. I purchased 8 shares at an average of $25.50 per share, so this accounts for roughly 5% of my starting position. Number 5 on the list is Tencent Holdings Limited, ticker symbol TCEHY. So Tencent is a Chinese technology conglomerate holding company that provides internet-related products and services primarily in the entertainment, fintech, and AI industries. I'm a huge League of Legends fan and Riot Games fan, for any of you guys that don't know. So I've always wanted to invest in Riot Games. So when I found out that Tencent actually owns Riot Games and several other companies that I have a similar mentality towards, it's companies that I really enjoy. I knew that Tencent having such major stakes in all these companies was a great option for me to invest in. So I purchased 5 shares with an average of 76.28 per share. So this position accounts for roughly 10% of my starting positions. Number 6 on the list is Invitae, ticker symbol NVTA. It's a healthcare company that is seeking to bring comprehensive genetic information to mainstream medicine and to provide products and services to test for a range of conditions through gene testing. So think of a DNA test using like saliva sample, etc. And I really think that the genomics industry has several reasons to have a strong future, and Invitae is one of those leaders in that industry. So I think it's a clear option for having exposure to this industry, and so I decided to invest in Invitae. So I purchased 15 shares with an average of 27.15 per share. So this position accounts for 10% of my starting positions. Another company in a similar industry in terms of the healthcare, at least that sector, is Teladoc. Ticker symbol TDOC is a virtual system for delivering, enabling, and enhancing healthcare virtually. So essentially, it's just the leader in telemedicine, which in my opinion is definitely in our society's interest in for our future. Without going into too much detail, Teladoc basically provides near worldwide access to doctors and specialists with just a few pushes of buttons on a smartphone, which is, absolutely insane to think that we're at that point. And especially as a Canadian who generally has to book appointments for, especially specialists at least, months, sometimes even years in advance, and also has to basically commit, half a day to the doctor's visit, even though it may only be like a half-hour visit, just because of how incredibly slow and always behind schedule they are. Seeing this as a future where, sure, you do have to pay more money for it, but to literally potentially have a specialist at your fingertips within like hopefully minutes at best is absolutely insane. And I see this as an incredibly valuable company in the future, or at least a leader in a sector and industry that's going to be incredibly valuable in the future. So I purchased 3 shares with an average price of $143 even, and this accounts for 10% of my starting positions. Next is Tattooed Chef, symbol TTCF. So Tattooed Chef is a food company that sells plant-based frozen foods. In the industry of meat alternatives, Tattooed Chef is not the leader, especially when you look at stuff like Beyond Meat, but it does have the infrastructure from its previous business model in supplying foods that could be rebranded privately for products for businesses like Walmart or Costco and type of like Kirkland brand or like No Name brand, that type of idea. Their previous business and their infrastructure has been surrounded by producing that type of food. So that it's going to be higher quality, and they have good logistics and relationships with these other companies that could really increase their demand. So I purchased 11 shares at an average of 17.63, which accounts for roughly 5% of my starting positions. Next on the list is DraftKings, symbol DKNG. So DraftKings is a fantasy sports and sports betting company. They obviously have valuable connections with their fan base and customers. So I think that users of DraftKings are going to be very loyal to the platform and could be a clear winner in this industry. So I purchased 9 shares at an average of 43.30, and that accounts for roughly 10% of my starting positions. Next on the list is Peloton, ticker symbol PTON. Peloton is a company that provides high quality exercise bikes and live classes streamed straight to the screen that actually comes with the bike. And I think in the current stay-at-home environment and the future of this type of product, Peloton is a great option as an investment for this type of consumer cyclical product of stay-at-home exercise in general, and stay-at-home. It's kind of encompassing all three of those. So I purchased 4 shares at an average of 91.38, which accounts for just under 9% of my starting positions. And last, but certainly not least, the last position that I entered was NIO, ticker symbol NIO. So NIO is a Chinese electric vehicle manufacturer, and I know you might be thinking, I do have a position in Tesla, why would I get NIO as well? I don't think having one in NIO is unnecessary. I think the electric vehicle market, it will be extremely large, and I don't see it being any different than the ICE market, where there are multiple companies that have large market shares, and I don't think that there's going to be one winner in this sector. And also considering that NIO is a Chinese electric vehicle manufacturer and China is a large consumer of electric vehicles, having a Chinese-based EV manufacturer will likely work out in my favor, even though I do also have a competitor in Tesla. So additionally, NIO offers vehicles with battery replacement technology that could really be valuable in the future of this market. Instead of having to wait at a charger for a vehicle to charge at these stations, the near empty battery that you would have when going to the station is actually removed and replaced with a fully charged battery. So as long as this process is optimized to be faster than charging and the additional cost of this process is minimized, this could be a very, very viable option, and this technology, even in its own right, could be something that really drives for profitability in this company. So I purchased 8 shares at an average of $34.50 per share, which accounts for the last about 7-ish% of my starting positions. So there you have it. That's the 11 positions that I started with for the 5K to 500K challenge. Now that my starting positions have been addressed, I'll quickly summarize any transactions I've made since and how the portfolio has performed for the remainder of the week, and finally address my ideas going into next week, or the week we're currently in. I'm actually filming this on Monday, the 17th, so this week. So the only transaction that I made since the start of my positions is actually adding to my Coinbase position because of a recent drop. I purchased 4 more shares at an average of $259.63 per. So this increased my Coinbase position to being 6 shares at an average of $274.40. So in terms of performance, Coinbase obviously was my worst performer of the week, and that's why I had the buying opportunity, and Peloton was my best performer. In total, I finished the first week of the challenge around $70 in the red before fees. And this was kind of expected for me. I know it was a very volatile week, especially in these stocks, but every time I open a new account with an investment brokerage, I always find for the first month I'm basically in the red / breaking even and kind of just fluctuating around there. But usually a month to 2 months, so around like week 6, I expect to make it into the green and into the positive and staying there. This equates to roughly 1% of a drop in the value of the positions. And with that being said, finally, the additional $900 that I have left in the account in cash. This week I'm looking to potentially add to my positions in Palantir or a Tattooed Chef. In terms of new positions, I am keeping my eyes on Star Peak Energy Transition Corp, ticker symbol STEM. None of these are guaranteed. I'm not 100% going to be committing to any of these. I'm just keeping my eye on them as they're positions that I'd like to add exposure to. So that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. I'll be uploading updates every week to summarize the past week and point out some ideas I have for the upcoming week. Additionally, I am considering to do some analysis and DD videos of the companies that I do have positions in this challenge. So if there is enough interest, then I am considering doing those whenever I can find time. If you guys are interested, let me know in the comments down below. There's no guarantees for upload times, so just consider them as bonus content. They'll come out whenever they come out, but I'm really just looking to see if it's something you guys are interested in and what companies, and I'll probably just do them in that order because it doesn't really matter to me, and when I have time, I'll do them. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. Peace.